Now, of course, there's all the love languages and aspects like that that you want to be aware of also, but this isn't the relationship advice necessarily. This is things to look out for with a girlfriend, with your potential wife. Please, like, for the love of God, don't commit yourself in a relationship with someone who has these types of red flags. Don't bind yourself legally with the law with someone who has these tendencies or characteristics about their own character. It's just gonna blow up in your face, and you could end up like me, losing everything. And I knew, believe me, I knew this was gonna happen. I knew when she had a child from me that was the end. And I still went with it. I still agreed. I went along, and I knew what my destiny was gonna be. This isn't like a chronological list, meaning that not one is more important than the other. It's just kind of my thoughts from my own marriage. And if I would have seen these red flags and not just brushed them under the rug, I think that my life could have been a lot differently. And I could have met someone who I, to this day, could have still been married to, built a life with, and most importantly, probably built a family and a legacy with, instead of ending up alone in my car and broke. So I'd like it to be the fact that you wouldn't have to live through this type of experience and not only like waste part of your life, but waste the potential of having a good, fulfilling family in your life. So the first red flag I really want to talk about is sharing a passion for each other's ambitions, dreams, your career, or just your hobbies. I can't even tell you how many times that I was out on like a training bike ride or a run or waking up early to go to Masters Swim, because at the time I was training for an Ironman. I really wanted to qualify for the World Championships in Kona, and it's a very difficult task to actually achieve, and one that I'd been working on before we ever got married. When we first started dating, it was already solidified that this was something I was really into. But after getting married, it seemed that all of this passion I had for sports and activities and being an athlete, probably something that attracted her to me originally, was then a detriment. And every time I went on a bike ride, it was this, you're doing this for yourself. There's things that I want to do. I want to go shopping. And it was just never enough to say like, well, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and do my training, and then, you know, the rest of the day can be whatever you want. It was more of, you're doing this for yourself, and I don't like that. You have to just be focused completely on me. And if it wasn't her passion, then it was irrelevant. There was no support anymore. Where it used to be more of a cheerleader who motivated you to get up and to pursue your goals or your hobbies, whatever it is, whatever gives you that spice of life. You really need to at least share some of that passion. Maybe just fake it in a way. Try to join in, because if one person's really into, say, health and fitness and like trying to lose weight, and the other one's the exact opposite, it's just gonna create a wall and controversy in a relationship where there really shouldn't be any, and you should be supporting each other and getting actively involved in that passion rather than saying you shouldn't be doing this anymore. So another red flag is any belittling of your passions, your career goals, aspirations in life in general. Whenever you have an idea or just something that might be outside of a career or just something that you want to try and achieve on the side, if they're not supporting you in this goal of yours, that should be a major red flag that they might have more narcissistic personality types, because everything's going to be more around what they want to achieve and what they want rather than what you do. And you're going to really stagnate your life if you just go along with what they want. And it's already hard enough to reach certain goals in life without anyone really close to you putting you down for them. I remember back in the day, I was trying to do some YouTube vlogs, about like fitness and training and what it's like to train for an Ironman, and then to go to the Ironman World Championships in Kona. And I remember that she would always just be saying, this is a stupid idea, YouTube is dumb, and it's a waste of time and money on cameras. And I guess now I have to live with you editing videos every night. This is completely stupid. And then not only saying that to me, but also saying it was a silly idea in front of my friends instead of her friends and our families. And it was just really demoralizing. And in a way, I feel like I wasted a lot of time, potential, and just skill development that I could have been making more videos. Even if they're crap, you still learn from making terrible videos and putting yourself out there. Not everything has to be a surefire win. It can be, lost potential. And I guarantee when you first started dating someone, if they had an idea, you're like the first person saying, yes, go for this, go for gold. And if you fail, it's not a big deal. I'll still be here to support you. And that's really what partnerships should be, in that you support one another and you don't belittle each other's ideas, ambitions, and goals, no matter what it is. If they fail, that's what happens. Most businesses fail. So if an idea fails, it's not the end of the world. You want to support them, you learn, and you move on. Or you keep just pushing ahead. Sometimes you just need to plow through, even while you're failing, because there is no easy road to success. And if you have a partner that's getting in the way of that, you might want to rethink some of these relationship choices that you're having. But the third red flag that I noticed but ignored was someone making you personally responsible for their emotions. And I remember that whenever we'd have a fight or an argument, it would always be my fault. And so I asked him, how can everything be my fault when you get mad? And she would just reply and say, because you're responsible for all of my emotions. When I'm mad, it's because of you. You did something. Instead of taking responsibility, which should be a given. You're responsible for your own emotions, your own mental health. There's no one else that can get inside your head. We don't understand exactly what you're going through. And so that communication has to be given. It can't be taken for granted that just because you're married or you have a longtime girlfriend or a boyfriend, that they're just gonna know what you're thinking about and what's bothering you. And a lot of the times, we just offload our emotions and that responsibility of being happy onto someone else, when it's up to us to be happy and to do things that feed our soul and our happiness. No one can give that to us. Only we can provide that for ourselves. And that's just an unneeded amount of stress and burden to put on another person. And sadly, that was another thing that I just totally ignored. And I was like, okay, I guess that's another thing that I shall be responsible for. So the fourth one that I've seen in my own life, of course, is the comparison game. I would always be compared to other men in her life. Say her father, for example, he would always say, why is Jeff going out and riding his bike? He should be working on the house, doing something for you. His role is only to work, because that's how he grew up. Was you go to work for 8 to 10 hours a day, and you come back and you mow the lawn, you take care of the house, you plant some trees, you clean the house. It was like a non-stop cycle for him of working, and do some kind of work at all times. And then also the amount of money that some of her coworkers would make. And I remember at times she'd come back from meetings or travel trips, and she would say, you know, my boss was wanting me to come up to his hotel room after dinner, and you know, he said I was really attractive, and that, you know, he has his wife at home, and then he has people. And I think it was a way to try and up her status, just by saying these high profile men really want me and desire me. And I'd always ask, well, did you go up? Is this a way to make me jealous? I would like to know, like, is this what you want in your life? And she would just say, no, I just want you to step up and be like these men. I'm guessing not have infidelity, but be powerful like them and make a lot of money and just have a lot of status like them, and be able to have the option perhaps of having mistresses. And then, you know, it was this constant, like, they have this custom furniture, they have this house, this income, and there was always this low grade subtle messaging of, you alone are inadequate, and these men over here are much better and higher status, and perhaps it would be better for me to share this high status man than to have you to myself. And it was always this comparison game. She had it with her clothes and her girlfriends, but then it was like the status of, I'm becoming inadequate in our relationship. And I think that is a very dangerous situation for a man to be in. I mean, granted, for women as well, if the man is comparing his wife or girlfriend to other women, saying, why can't you look like that? Why can't you have this type of body? Or comparison game is a major red flag, and one to be very wary of. Lastly, and I think most important, is that if you're in a relationship, there shouldn't be any rash decisions made on the spot. This happened to me 3 times, where I would make plans on going on a backpacking trip or doing something for the day, maybe like a long ride, or I was planning a trip with a friend. If that's been okayed, like, yes, you have my permission, my blessing to go and do this, and you make plans to go, but then last minute they change their minds and say you shouldn't go, but yet you still decide to do this. You come back home and there's punishments of some kind, ramifications for you following through with your plans. For me, it would be coming home to find the garage filled with all of my own belongings and the house locked, and she would be gone somewhere. And so many times that I would come home from a trip and then have to go over to a friend's house to stay in while she cooled down over the next couple days, or until she got back home herself. One instance, I remember I was going to go backpacking at Mount Hood, and she was going to do Hood to Coast, the run. So I was going to go backpacking a day around Mount Hood, meet up with her before the run started, see her off, finish the loop around Mount Hood, get in my car, and then drive to the coast to see her at the finish. Well, she decided last minute that I shouldn't go backpacking and I should come with her to the start and then just hang out over the weekend, or at least maybe follow in the car with their team status. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, I was still gonna go backpacking, go around Mount Hood. However, when I finished on the weekend day, say Sunday, came back home to shower and then go to the coast to see her finish with her team on Hood to Coast, I came home to all my stuff being in the garage and the house locked. And we're in a safe neighborhood, so I didn't carry around house keys. I just opened up the garage and then used that entrance into the house. We didn't lock the garage door from the garage into the house, and that was all locked. And I had to stay with a friend for 3 days actually because of that. And this happened over and over again while dating, and then once while being married. And just that quick action to getting rid of someone in your life who's supposed to be the most important person in your life, that quick decision to just try to erase or eradicate them cannot be overlooked. And each time that she apologized and came back and came up with some lame excuse why she did it, I always forgave her and came back. To me, I thought this relationship is worth fighting for. And yes, she tried to kick me out, but let live and forget. Little did I know that eventually all of this would just culminate into the divorce and making it permanent. These acts of kicking you outside of the home, outside of whatever living circumstances, even like the bedroom into like the guest room, these are all steps and testing the waters for a permanent separation, say breaking up or a divorce. And they should not be taken lightly. And if there's any advice I can leave, if this ever happens, is don't go back. Stay out. They made their decision. That time, they may apologize, but eventually, you're gonna be on the ringer. It's just a test to see how they feel with you gone for a couple days. And if they don't feel like it's the right timing or their emotions change, they will do whatever it takes to get you back. But it's only a matter of time until they decide that this is a decision they want to stick with. Guys, girls, follow your intuition. Your heart knows. Don't just blindly trust. Go with your heart, with what your gut tells you. Forget all of the love language and all the apologies. If there's so many red flags and your heart's telling you no and your gut just tells you this is not the right decision, please listen to it. Save yourself a lot of heartache, pain, and in these days, your whole life.